Shit, gang shit, bad shit, gang squad clothes.
Jay Eliante pulling up, feeling like Harry Belafonte. Look at my racks, feel like Serena went hit from the back. Swing, pull like Jim, waves on swim, Anorak Tims with the tech. Butterfly doors on the Tesla, I spin shit on gas.
All right.
All right, Matthew McConaughey.
I was going for Dennis again. I feel like he's
that's what he's doing, a Matthew McConaughey impression when he's doing that.
I'm not, I think I'm aware of the reference, but I don't think that I've actually seen whatever that is.
It's like some stoner movie from before we were born. I don't know if it was from before we were born, but it was when we were little. So.
I thought it was maybe Cocktail with Tom Cruise.
No, it's Matthew McConaughey doing that.
Oh, I really kind of gotta find what that is, I guess. Because I do that a lot, but I'm using the wrong one.
But you're referencing Dennis on Sunny, who's referencing Matthew McConaughey.
Very
meta.
Oh my god, Naya, if you do it, if you say all right, reference me, referencing Dennis, referencing Matthew McConaughey.
How many layers deep can this go?
Infinite. Well, how was your week?
Pretty good. Nothing terrible to report back. How about you?
Yeah, pretty terrible.
The baby being
fully teething. I'm balls deep in the teething phase, and I'm not loving it. It's frustrating. It's a patience tester too, because it's like you can't really get mad because she's in pain, but you also you know what I mean? Day after day after day, like the same, like the little cry. Oh, it's just too much. Also, we got a bunch of snow where I live, and even though it seems to snow here 6 months out of the year, always like the first snow or the first couple snows, the electricity goes out in the entire valley.
Wow.
So, thousands of people are without electricity. And we did get lucky. Like, before I even tell you this story, like, we were very, very lucky. Like, I really can't complain. Ours went out for about an hour. But I wanted to be prepared this time because I've been stuck without it for a long time before. And now with the baby, I don't want her to get cold. I don't want, you know what I mean? She's already teething. Yeah. Like, I don't need any more stress. So I set up, like, tiles underneath all the doors. I hit the heat while we did have electricity, so it was really hot, so I had the temperature to play with. Yeah. I got a basket prepped with all of her portioned out foods. I got a little snack supply next to my bed. I put extra blankets. I had like little lights like ready to go, like little candle lights ready to go if it did go out. So this kind of circles back to our apocalypse talk, because I'm thinking like, I'm ready for this. I'm so ready. So lo and behold, the electricity goes out. I'm like, don't worry, baby girl. Like, we prepared for this. We're ready. We're going to go in the warmest room in the house and snuggle up and whatever. And 10 minutes in, like, I've finished 70% of my snacks. And I'm thinking like, well, fuck. Like, I wouldn't be good if we were genuinely rationing. You know what I mean? The kitchen's like right next door. Like, we have food. It's fine. But I wanted to just stay in this room and keep the heat. Yeah. But it came back on, and then we just stayed and cuddled for a little bit. But yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, I don't think you could pay me enough money to be back in snow ever again. So
I hate it.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I'm not a very experienced driver, so I'm like playing with, learning how to drive and getting.
You are?
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I have to, because I don't want, if anything was to ever happen, God forbid, like, I need to be able to drive the kid.
Right.
Plus, I want to take her to her ballet or football or wrestling or fucking sleepover, whatever, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm not driving in the snow. I'm not driving in the snow. Like,
yeah, fuck that. I've never driven in snow, and I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people live in places like where you live, and it's like, oh, I gotta go boil some water and melt the ice off my car before I can even get in there. Like, how our ancestors settled in these places, and they saw that ice was falling from the sky, and they were like, you know what, this is good. We'll stay here.
Love this.
Chalk it up to me being from Southern California, but no, snow is not my friend.
I can't stand it either. It's cute to look at, but it's only cute to look at
pretty.
if you're in like a cabin setting with a fire and you have nowhere to go. And even then,
tons
it's
of
fucking old.
booze.
Yeah, for like
Yeah,
one
even
weekend.
then.
Only when
Yeah.
it's Christmas, one weekend, and then all the other days, can just fuck off. I have morning brew. I have morning brew today.
I need the morning brew right now.
You're not ready for this morning brew.
Oh shit, really?
Because I'm kind of
Bracing
not ready
myself.
for it.
Oh
The
god.
morning
What?
it's not bad. I'll put it that way. It's not bad. But the hole that I fell into doing this morning brew, it almost took over the entire episode for me. So before I get into it, though, I want to get this out of the way real quick. I wanted to include it in our morning brew because it's kind of our headlines talking about the news. And I want to do it first because the rest of the morning brew today, it goes on a bit of a tangent and my tone might get a little bit silly. So I want to do this one now. And I'm sure, as everybody is aware by now, Aaron Carter passed away this week. Aaron struggled for a long time with his mental health as well as addiction for years. And he did recently check back into rehab for the 5th time. So this is really sad, really heartbreaking. He was so young, had a very young son as well that he's leaving behind, in addition to his family. So on that note, I want to link some resources today for you listeners or for someone that you may know that struggles with addiction or mental health issues and needs help. Please just remember that there is help out there. You are not alone, and we need you here with us. Why am I getting so emotional? Oh my God. I didn't know I was going to get so upset.
It's really sad. It's totally sad. Like, I saw on Twitter after the news broke that somebody said something like, Justin Bieber or Aaron Carter walked so that Justin Bieber could run. It's like trying to relate to younger people. It's like, this was our Justin Bieber. And, because Aaron Carter's like bigger hits and stuff came out when I was like in junior high, elementary school, just about to hit junior high. Like that episode of him on the Lizzie McGuire show, like that whole thing, like that was big deal to us when we were that age. So it's just really sad. He was 34?
Yeah. He's another one that it kind of felt like I grew up with, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
In regards to his music and stuff, like I really can't say that I was like the biggest fan past like the young fangirl kind of age.
Right.
But he was just, you know what I mean? Like I definitely didn't see that coming, even though it's kind of like we all knew for the longest time that he was going through a lot. So it's just really sad. But I will get into the morning brew for real now. This is a good
R.I.P. Aaron Carter.
R.I.P. Aaron Carter. And again, I will link those below. I'll probably maybe even do like an Instagram post or something and put the links there just because we don't have the biggest following right now. So it's not like we're doing very much, but even if we reach one person, that's everything. So
yeah, agreed.
Okay. Morning brew for real. I'm going to take my sweater off because I'm hot. When I get emotional, I get hot.
Getting all sweaty there. I get really sweaty when I get mad, so
Yeah.
I'm usually mad, so I'm usually sweaty.
My almost 6-month-old daughter gets sweaty, stinky feets. And they're just the cutest little sweaty, stinky feets in the world.
Sweaty, stinky feet already?
Yeah, she takes after
She
her.
really is my child. She takes after her Nina.
Oh, yeah, leave it at that. She takes after you. Okay. Are you ready for this? I want you to brace yourself. Put your seatbelts on.
I am knuckled and buckled. Let's go.
Okay. Oil attacks woman for the 2nd time in Washington, and apparently this is becoming more common. I'm just gonna. Yes. Okay. I'm just gonna read you some of the article itself. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, my friend.
Okay.
A woman was left crawling on her hands and knees after a feisty owl attacked her without warning twice. I'm sorry. I always start laughing at the worst times with these.
Well, without warning is kind of a hilarious little bit to have in there, considering I don't know that anything warns you before it attacks you.
That's true.
So,
I mean, not like in a way that I guess we would pick up because we're people, but maybe in like their specific animal language they do, you know, like the way a cat would hiss or a dog would growl.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, so she has been the victim of 2 bird attacks in the space of a week. If anyone needs to buy the Powerball ticket, it is this woman. The 30-year-old revealed the culprit was the same owl which she recognized as she's seen it around her property in a wooded area before. She told Newsweek she'd, quote, never had a problem with it previously, and had even taken photos of the creature. I mean, maybe that's why. But last week, as she attempted to walk past the bird, it swooped out of a tree and left her with numerous gashes in her head.
Ooh.
She described
Ouch.
I know. That would terrify me. I would be probably scarred for life.
I'm already terrified of birds.
Yeah.
Birds and I don't mix. You fucking dinosaurs. Like, we're not pals, and they scare me already, so I can't even imagine having a bird come at me.
Yeah, the swooping.
Especially an owl. Those fuckers are vicious.
They are. They're big, too. They're not like...
Yeah, they're a lot bigger than people think they are.
Yeah, like that wingspan. She described the first time the owl struck, saying, the first time I was walking down my driveway at dusk on a Saturday evening around 5:30 p.m., and it had just gotten dark enough to need a flashlight. Something big came out of nowhere from behind me and swooped at my head, and I ducked and looked up to see a barred owl land low in a tree in front of me. I'd seen the owl around the property before and had even taken pictures of it previously and never had a problem with it. I've definitely never experienced anything like this with an owl before. So that's interesting enough, right? So of course I fell into a hole after reading that article. I had to do some research and see if owls are usually aggressive, and apparently owls of all kinds have been known to attack people when defending their young, their mates, or their territories. Frequent targets include unsuspecting joggers and hikers. Often victims escape without...
Get for exercising.
It's a dangerous world out there. Let's just all stay inside. Often victims escape without injury, and deaths from owl attacks are extremely rare. So, I know you already know what I had to do next. I looked up how many people die from owl attacks in the United States every year. Of course I did.
That's the next logical step, obviously.
Yeah. So I found a website called, it's like ru.org. I'll tag all of these so you guys can read too. But the piece in there is called How Many People Die from Owl Attacks. And according to them, owls don't actually tend to swoop on humans. There's an entire section of this piece literally titled, Do Owls Swoop Humans? And the subtitle reads, No, owls do not swoop humans. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this an article.
Very redundant.
But that segment kind of goes on to contradict itself and cites a conservation director who said that it does in fact happen, it's just not very common and usually isn't anything to worry about. Upon further research, please do not ask me why this got me to hyperfocus, but it just did, and I was just stuck in this owl hole for, 8 hours or something.
Oh my god.
Anyways, an owl might swoop a human if it's protecting its young or defending its territory, as we said. So possibly this woman is just in the owl's space, and twice, considering this isn't their first encounter. So it makes sense to me that this has happened. Maybe the owl was giving her a chance to fuck off, and then eventually he was like, you know what, bitch? I fucking told you. I told you in my little way to back off, and here you are again, fucking coming up on me and my kids and my house. I'm done. Swoop,
Yeah. I mean, she also didn't ask for consent for those photos that she took of it, so that's really rude. I'd be upset too if I was that owl.
Yeah.
Don't fucking take a picture of me without asking.
I'm thinking that the more I kind of read about her, the more I kind of think she deserved it. You know what I mean? I'm glad she's okay. She got some scratches. There's some pictures where she's a little bit bloodied up. But maybe she deserved it.
Yeah,
this topic goes on. And if you think I'm kidding, I am not. This owl thing is so much bigger than just a morning brew topic. I don't even know how I got where I am with this. But fuck Bad Brew episode 2 kink talk. This is now Isle talk. Episode 2 is Isle talk.
Oh shit, I didn't prepare for this.
I am manning the ship. This is all we are talking about today.
Okay.
I, of course, find a subreddit where someone was beautiful, wonderful, amazing enough to somehow also stumble across the need to research deeply into Isle behavior and possible Isle violence. And this person posted an entire breakdown of Isle violence between 1877 and 1950. This person did the work.
Wow.
They did all of the work.
It's a century of research, essentially.
Yeah. How they even managed to do this, I don't know. So I might even just like input here, possibly this isn't true, but I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
Yep, that's how that works.
I'm just going to read you this little insert from this person's research here. In total, there were 79 attacks reported in this period. That's between 1877 and 1900. There were 40 Isle attacks on humans reported. So around Wait, what am I saying? I'm sorry, I just said like a literal bucket full of words and none of it made any sense. Okay, let's try that again. In total, there were 79 attacks reported in this period. Between 1877 and 1900, there were 40 Isle attacks on humans reported. So, around 2 per year between 1900 and 1950. The number reported drops to 39, which is less than 1 per year. 2 of these attacks occurred indoors, excluding barns, as there were many of those. 1 attack was fatal. Okay?
Okay.
And that was on an elderly farmer in Pennsylvania back in 1911. 2 other attacks resulted in prolonged hospital stays. At least 3 attacks rendered the victims unconscious. This is a real thing. There's something happening with these fucking birds. Around half of all the attacks resulted in serious lacerations to either the arms or head. And I remember that because it's going to become important later. The other half resulted in only minor injuries, such as minor scratches to the head or face. No big deal. Although terrifying, but no big deal.
No, scratch my face and I'll scratch your fucking face. Are you kidding?
Several attacks resulted in injuries that required immediate medical care, including 7 victims who lost 1 or both eyes. Wait a minute. What?
Way worse. That is way worse.
Oh my god. 1 who suffered a broken wrist and 2 others who required cauterization of large wounds. Another was left with an arm in a sling. There are numerous reports of hair torn out, scalps torn away, and severe blood loss.
I would be very upset if a piece of my scalp went missing because of a fucking owl. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, just the word scalp puts me kind of in a painful position. I just don't enjoy that word.
No, yeah, you're right. Ugh,
Scalp.
Gross.
I'm not really sure why, but
Take a scalpel to the scalp. That's why.
Yeah. Maybe it's scalpel. Yeah. In one particularly unfortunate case in Pittsburgh, a zookeeper was mauled by 8 horned owls while trapped in their enclosure. He sustained over 100 wounds before help was alerted. I believe he survived. Now, cases like that where zookeepers get attacked, much as it's terrifying and sad and I'd never want to see anybody get hurt, it's almost kind of like a poetry.
It's like a work hazard for them. Like, you're a zookeeper and you're fucking with some wild animals, so it's kind of par for the course. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But still scary.
It's almost like a poetic justice. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, you keep something in a cage for human entertainment and then it turns on you. So, like, as much as, yes, I feel bad, I only feel bad, like, a little bit. Like, a little bit.
Well, I think it depends on the zoo, because there are some zoos, like, that do really good conservation work, and, like, it sucks that these animals are in captivity, but at the same time, it's like, are they being well taken care of? Like, I know that the LA Zoo and the San Diego Zoo do a really good job of taking care of their animals. So it's not the same as like some fucking lion habitat or some Tiger King shit where somebody,
thinking
yeah, they're not all like that. So it depends. Like, definitely depends on the institution where these poor creatures are being kept captive.
Should we have Joe Exotic on as a guest?
I will bow out from this podcast if I have to talk to him.
We could do good cop, bad cop.
All right.
I will be.
We all know I'm bad cop. Yes, we all know who's who here.
Speaking of guests, I don't think I'm going to say who it is, but I think I have our first guest. So listeners, just be aware that might happen at some point soon, and then I'll talk to you about it afterwards.
Obviously. Yeah.
Okay, back to my oil thing though, okay? Because this continues. So I live in Montana, for those who don't know. So an oil attack isn't something entirely out of the realm of possibility here. So I find this fucking interesting, and I think you will too. So stay with me here, okay? This oil thing goes on and becomes something that is known as the oil theory. Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
the rabbit hole. We found it.
There we go.
We're falling deeper down it.
Yeah, it got deep.
Like
here's
Alice
what happens.
Over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's a white oil and not a white rabbit.
It's Hedwig.
Okay. Oh, full circle. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story, okay?
Okay. I love stories.
You're going to like this one. In North Carolina, on the 9th of December in 2001, a man named Michael Peterson called 911 after he found his wife, Kathleen, unconscious. In his statement, Michael explained that he had been outside by the pool before he came back inside around 2:40 a.m., where he found Kathleen at the foot of the stairs. Michael's theory was that she was drunk or on Valium, and that must have resulted in her fatally falling down the stairs.
Oh, that's sad.
It is sad. Kathleen Peterson was 48 when she died, and toxicology reports showed that her blood alcohol level was 0.07%. Now, that's just under the legal limit, by the way, of like the average legal limit in the United States, which is about 8. And she had about 5 to 15 milligrams of... Milligrams? It's mg?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. And she had about 5 to 15 milligrams of Valium in her system as well. Now, do you know very much about Valium?
I know that it makes you feel real good.
I don't. So I had to look that up a little bit because when I saw the alcohol level, I kind of had an opinion on that. But the Valium, I had to do a little bit of research on. So according to addictionresource.net, there have been very few fatal Valium overdoses, but more often than not, overdose does happen when combined with alcohol. Now, there's nothing about an overdose for Kathleen. I just wanted to give a little bit of context on these drug and alcohol levels in her system, because in my opinion, for the husband to make a comment like that, it would lead one to assume that Valium and alcohol mixes are a common thing for Kathleen, you know?
Yeah.
Like the husband to be like, oh, she was just drunk and Valium, whatever, right? Like you wouldn't just say that unless it was something that she was doing on the regular. So, in my opinion, her blood alcohol level reports showing under the legal blood alcohol level and a 5 to 10 milligram level of Valium, being as the recommended dose is around 2 to 10 from doctors, that doesn't seem like a staggering amount of these chemicals or whatever in her body, right? It is possible that it would have been enough for her to just pass out and fall down the stairs, sure, but I'm going to continue. I'm going to get there. Kathleen had also had a lot of severe injuries that were documented on her autopsy report, including 7 lacerations to the top and the back of her head that were in fact consistent with hits from a blunt object. Her cause of death was blood loss about 90 minutes to 2 hours after these injuries were sustained. That part's really, really sad to me because if he was just outside by the pool, should he have come in earlier? Maybe
she
could have saved
would
her.
have lived probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sad. A forensic expert, however, proclaimed that the blood spatter evidence was consistent with an accidental fall down the stairs, and police investigators also said that the injuries were consistent with that as well. So this case got kind of crazy and was actually one of the longest trials in North Carolina history. Kathleen's daughter and sister both were on the side of Michael's innocence, until details on his personal life came out, and apparently he's bisexual. The sister reconsidered her opinion on his innocence after that news, and the daughter did as well after learning the information in the autopsy report. A medical examiner also concluded that the cause of death was due to the lacerations caused by a homicidal assault. So, the prosecution had motive of not only this apparent secret life that Michael was living, complete with an affair, but also, interestingly, the $1.5 million life insurance policy, always with the life insurance.
Of course, yep.
How predictable, Michael. Allegedly predictable. Defense said that Kathleen was aware of Michael's bisexuality and the marriage was happy anyways. She was apparently really supportive of that, and this was all corroborated by family, friends, and other friends of the married couple.
Right.
In 2003, Michael was found guilty of the murder and was sentenced to life without parole. He appealed, and it was denied, and also tried for a new trial, but that was also denied. So, what the fuck is the aisle theory? I can, feel you asking me, what does it have to do with this? Okay, here we are, we've arrived. In 2009, a neighbor of the Petersons, who also happens to be an attorney, he was not involved with the case, but he'd been following along, he proposed a new theory of Kathleen's death. He proposed the theory that an owl had attacked Kathleen outside, to which she rushed back inside, falling and hitting her head. He came up with this theory because according to the evidence list, there was a microscopic owl feather listed, found clutched in Kathleen's hair. Clutched in Kathleen's left hand, I believe it was her hair and the feather, a sliver from a tree, and the hair had it had been pulled out by the roots, from her head, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of crazy. To think about her own hand having her own hair ripped from the roots, and within that there being a feather and a piece of a sliver from a tree.
Right.
I don't know about the oil thing yet. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but just even that itself is very weird.
Oh, she got in a fight with a tree outside. Sounds pretty standard to me.
A re-examination of the hair in 2008 showed that there were 2 more microscopic feathers found. The neighbor attorney reckons that should the jury have been presented this information during the trial, their deliberation and ultimately their verdict would have been heavily affected, which I would agree, because that makes it something else. You know what I mean? Not even just the feather, but the hair clump in her hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little more mysterious.
There's more to that, you know?
There's definitely more to it, than meets the eye right away.
Yeah. The doctor that performed the autopsy said that it was unlikely that a bird caused the injuries, and prosecution also basically laughed at the claims, but these opinions were challenged by 3 others who basically agreed with this theory and filed affidavits in 2010. Now, I couldn't find who exactly was agreeing with the owl theory, and I can't see the affidavits or anything like that, but that was included in the research, so I'm putting it in there. I don't really know what that means. Now, despite the interest in this theory, as of 2009, there was no motion for a new trial. Okay, so this case got even crazier. There was people being fired and dismissed all over the place, it seems like. But just to keep us on topic here, in 2011, Michael was released on a $300,000 bail and was placed under house arrest with an anklet. This followed a judicial order for a new trial. Apparently, the blood spatter expert that I mentioned before, or the guy who pitched that evidence, basically, he super over-exaggerated his experience and his training, and the judge even ended up saying that he gave, quote, materially misleading and deliberately false testimony.
Cool. Good job.
Right? And also, because of that, basically any evidence given by this person after that had to be deemed inadmissible in a new trial.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this guy that gave this evidence in the blood spatter was fired, by the way, and he apparently had falsely represented evidence in 34 other cases. Like,
oh my God.
Job. Like, if you don't want to do this, do something else.
Jeez.
I know, that's so disappointing to me because, like, I have such an interest, like, you do too, like, such an interest in the law, like, especially, like, forensic and, like, homicide, like, this stuff is important. Stop fucking it up with your lies.
Yeah. Your ego.
Literally. Because the answer's out there. That's the thing, too, that fascinates me about it, is that there's always an answer. So to lie, make stuff up, and forge evidence,
right,
like, you're covering the truth up. So, like, never mind morally, like, that's just annoying to me because I want to know what happened.
Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot too, like in a lot of true crime cases. It's always the police they're just trying to pin it on somebody, close the case, and when they do that and they pin it on somebody that definitely clearly didn't do it, now you're just letting the person who really did it get away with it because you just want to close your case. Yeah,
lazy.
So lazy. Just like
lazy and undeserving. Yeah. Literally just go do something else. Like, there's so many other jobs. Okay. So let's cut to the most recent verdict for Michael. Michael entered a plea called an Alford plea. And this is basically when there's enough evidence to convict the suspect, but they still maintain their innocence. So basically, he got voluntary manslaughter charge, and he was sentenced to 86 months in prison with credit for time previously served. So by the time of this sentence, he had already served like 98 months, so he didn't have to do any additional time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. What do you think? Did he get away with a murder? Was it Niall?
I mean, the fact that she had some tree and hair and owl feather in her hand is... I mean, did he plant those things there? She also had lacerations. It sounds like she was fucked up by an owl, dude.
I mean, the lacerations link up with the current oil attack case that we were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it matches. But then, okay, of course there's an entire subreddit dedicated to this case. There's also a movie or a show called The Staircase that is based around this case.
Oh.
And I saw a Redditor comment that the feather, the Kathleen feather, was never tested, so it was never proven that it was an owl feather.
Oh.
So should that be true, then, I mean, it could be fucking anything. But...
It could be any predatory bird.
Who's to say that it wasn't? Because, like, I read this case, and it says that, you know, in the evidence report list or whatever... It clearly said oil feathers. So this is why the neighbor came up with this entire theory. Right. So whether that Redditor missed that, maybe they're wrong, or maybe there's a mistake somewhere, I don't know. But the whole thing is really fucking compelling, and it's basically how I spent the last 24 hours.
Well, then. I mean, that's pretty interesting. Owls are bastards, I've heard. So I wouldn't be surprised if she got fucked up by a bird and came back inside and passed out. And I also wouldn't be surprised if her husband literally just got away with murder. I mean, that life insurance policy amount is a sweet number. So I can definitely see that playing out that way too. And if he did get away with murder, like, job well done. I mean, I guess he didn't really get away. He still had to serve time, but definitely didn't serve life.
Yeah. No, he did 98 months, and what is that?
Don't ask me to do math. We've been over.
I don't know anything. I was going to be like,
I have this calculator on my phone, I think.
But how do we even work it out? Like 12 divided by 98 divided by 12?
So it's like 8.166666667.
Okay. So he did like 8 years and some change. I don't know if that's long enough for a murder.
Yeah, but we don't know if he murdered her.
It's true, but the aisle thing, one thing that I would challenge on the aisle thing is that, like my research tells us, aisles tend to only swoop or attack when they're feeling challenged or like defensive of their predatory,
like
or
they're agitated in some way.
Yeah. So like they were just at home. So while I can get behind the aisle theory until it's like this aisle would have come up before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't. It never did. I think maybe I think the involuntary manslaughter charge is probably the one that makes the most sense to me, because when I was looking at the time that he came back inside from being outside by the pool in North Carolina, it's almost 3 a.m.
2 in the morning. Yeah. What time of year was this?
Yeah, like
I thought you said October.
Was it December? Oh my god, I have this because I did the research. Hold on. I'm too excited. I'm too excited for this.
That's fine. It's fine. Be excited.
Let's see. It was fucking December, bro. So he's lying.
Why are you at the pool? Unless you're in your hot tub, maybe. But he said he was at the pool. So
he said specifically pool, yeah. So I'm wondering if he like came back inside, because I could swing like, let's say 11 p.m., right? Friday night, having some drinks out by the pool, you're having a good time in the middle of fucking December. Okay. Maybe he came back inside and she had fallen, right? She had slipped and fell. But like he just kind of neglected to call the cops. He was like, maybe I didn't see that, and I might by the pool until 3 a.m. 1.5 million.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Now that I'm remembering that it was December, I don't know if I believe that he was outside that whole time.
Yeah. Well, and then there's some of the reports and the doctors that were looking at the autopsy, and the head lacerations were consistent with blunt force trauma, like being hit with something. So there was an additional part that I read that there was kind of a theory around the murder weapon being the fire poker that they had been gifted. But there was no like actual evidence to kind of back that up. So I didn't really think it would need to be included, but yeah, that's your morning brew. Basically, I did have some other notes that I was gonna cover. There was a shipment of baby wipes that turned out to be $11.8 million worth of cocaine.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Where was it going?
Send a coke though. My house.
Cool. I'll be right over. I can deal with some snow now.
Right. And Sherry Papini was sentenced to 18 months in prison. Are you aware of the Sherry Papini case?
I don't know who that is, no.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll fill you in next week for next week's morning brew.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, well, that's your morning brew.
Well, thank you. I feel energized and revitalized by this morning brew. And terrified. Really glad I don't think there are many owls where I live. Hopefully not. So. Yeah, no. Hopefully not. I feel like I've heard an owl outside before, but
let's look it up.
I'm just gonna hope it's not an owl.
Okay, so there are small ones with short feathered ear tufts and dark eyes. Oh, they're cute. They're called a flammulated owl.
I mean, I know they're cute. All owls are cute, but they're fucking scary. They'll eat your eyeballs, apparently.
Well, yeah. I mean, they might push you down the stairs, too. They might jack your Valium.
Yeah, they may even collect my life insurance policy while they're at it. Just kidding. I don't have a life insurance policy. Don't kill me.
Right. Could you imagine?
Nobody's going to get anything out of that, I promise. So maybe like my annoying ass gone, but that's all you're gonna get out of killing me.
And your art.
Oh, my quote in quotes art, yeah.
Oh, I love your art. Stop.
Oh, you're sweet. I love your art.
Oh my god, I I'm incapable of finishing.
I'm
anything.
the same way. I can't even fucking finish reading a book anymore. It's ridiculous.
Ooh, what are you reading? Or not reading, as the case may be.
I was rereading Lolita for a while there, and then I don't know, dude. I guess I want to blame it on the fact that I was an English major in college, and all I did was read and write, and that's why I was like burnt out. But I graduated college in 2015, so it's been a while, and I still, for whatever reason, dude, I just cannot sit through a book anymore. Like, I cannot get to the end of it. It's weird.
You know what? I came across the same problem about 6 months ago, and I realized it was because this is actually going to play really well into our main segment. It's because I realized that I was trying to put down and submerge a deep want for my literature, and that's disgusting, vile, graphic horror. Just really, really terrible.
Some like Lovecraftian shit.
Like, Aaron Beauregard is my new favorite author. He wrote a book called Yellow, which I finished a couple weeks ago, and the first one I read was called The Slob, and just the cover alone will disturb you, but it's...
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's very graphic, and I'm obsessed with him. So maybe you just need a genre change.
Maybe I do. Maybe I need to read something I haven't read before. I do a lot of rereading of things, as I also do a lot of rewatching and such. And listen to the same playlist of music all day long.
I wonder what that is.
I'm sure it has something to do with my anxiety.
Yes.
I've read before that, like, people who rewatched shows or movies or whatever is because you don't have to feel any anxiety or anticipation because you already know what's coming, which is why I can sit there and watch Titanic 1,000 times over, even though I actually have a really big fear of, like, large bodies of water and like drowning and shit like that. Like, that is terrible. I used to have like the worst nightmares about drowning when I was a teenager. It's just, to me, that's probably the worst way to go, is drowning, because you are conscious and then, like, involuntarily you will breathe in when you're submerged. Once you know, you just do it, and then your lungs fill up with water and they explode inside you, and you're still alive and conscious for that. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound fun in any way. And I don't know, the ocean scares the shit out of me. There's stuff in there, and the ocean itself is scary. Like, no.
Ooh, I'm into it. There's two ways to drown, apparently, and there's like a peaceful way, and then there's a not so peaceful way. And the not so peaceful way kind of sounds like what you're talking, like the panic. But there's also like no way to know what way you're going to drown until you do it. So.
Oh, great. I hope I never have to deal with that.
It's like a nice little surprise.
Oh, fuck my life. Yeah, that's exactly how my life would end, with another fucking surprise at the end.
But it could be the good surprise. It could be like the nice, peaceful one, the good one.
Yeah, because I think I know what you're talking about, where it's like, it's kind of, you go into a state of euphoria, like right before you die, because you're just, like, your body's just releasing all the good drugs, all from the internal medicine cabinet, so that you are sedated, basically, while you're dying.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think me personally, there's too much panic in me to go peacefully, so I would probably be kicking and screaming the whole way, and would be, like, bleeding, even though I'm not cut, and just really dramatic.
Bleeding out of your eyes.
Yeah. I'm somehow on fire, too, underwater.
Just on fire, bleeding out of your eyes and ears. Perfect.
There's spiders. Spiders appear.
They're crawling out of your ears.
Yeah. Well, definitely.
That actually was always a fear I used to have. When I was younger, I like hate bugs. I always just thought, like, how fucking disgusting would it be if I like went one day and I was like, ow, my nose, it's all plugged up, it's itchy, I don't know what's going on, and then like a burst of spiders just like fucking flies out of my nose. Like, that is terrifying to me.
That's not an impossible thing. I
know it's not impossible. That's why it's terrifying.
I have an ex that told me a story, and this is too close for comfort, because you always hear about the spiders in your ears and your mouth. How are we fucking talking about spiders again? But you always hear these stories, right? These fucking horror stories. Well, this one was a little bit too close to home for me because it was my boyfriend at the time's friend. And that was as far as that I heard, she heard thing went. That's, you know what I mean? One person away. And he was my boyfriend, so it was really just like the next person. Anyways, they're in the park. He scratched his ear. And he popped a fucking spider egg, and the spiders come out, and I'm going to die. Like, I'm literally, what was that? Oh, God. They're coming.
I don't mind spiders, and that just gave me full body chills. That's fucking disgusting. Can't.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I like nature. I like to look at nature with, like, a glass between me and the nature. I don't like to be in nature. For that reason. Bugs are just fucking gross.
Like... Yeah, it's really like, it's overrated in my opinion. Like, my fiance is super into camping, which is great.
No.
I'm good, though.
Just absolutely. I need running water. I need, fucking call me a princess if you have to. I don't care. Sure. Like, I need a bed. I need a pillow. I need running water. I need electricity. Don't ever fucking invite me camping.
No,
I will not go.
Like, I kind of want Wednesday to go, like, with her dad. You know what I mean?
That'd be super cute.
They can,
like, bonding
because she's really
with them.
into, like, cool. You guys go do that. I will only come if there's a hotel nearby. I'm gonna need, like, a full coffee bar, a full bar for nighttime.
Like, I could totally handle camping.
Yeah.
But camping? Fuck that. No.
Like a nice cabin. Like we were talking about, like a nice cabin with like a lake view, and it's super cute.
Oh, but there are some people who go camping to the point where like they gotta dig a hole in the ground to take a shit. I am not fucking doing that. I am not. No. I need a toilet, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, your toilet. I need it. Like, I'm not digging a fucking hole in the dirt to do my business. That's just not happening.
Shall we talk about who the fuck you are?
Who the fuck are you?
Locked in, don't wanna let me get out. I'ma put you on a bitch, you gotta sit out.
Well, you know I have questions in my notes, because I'm a note taker, bitch.
Let's do it.
Out of all of the places you have lived, where is home?
Okay. So that's an interesting one, just because recently, this past summer, I was in my hometown in Highland Park, Los Angeles, California. And that to me is my home. I grew up there. When I was there this past summer, I was driving through my town, and I was like purposely trying to get lost. And then I just couldn't. Because I know where every single street goes and where it meets another street, and it was like I was trying to get lost and I just couldn't because I fucking knew exactly where I was. I walked those streets my whole life growing up. So that was like this weird nostalgia because Highland Park is so vastly different from what it is now to what it was when I was growing up. It's been so heavily gentrified, and there's just like all these white people everywhere, and I'm just like, what is this place? Like this is my home, but I'm a stranger in this place all of a sudden now. It's weird. But I mean, it was nice to see that a lot of the businesses that were there previously are still there. A lot of like the restaurants and stuff like that are still there, which is nice to see that the gentrification hasn't totally wiped out and colonized my hometown. It's nice to see that the gentrifiers have embraced whatever cool eateries and spots that we had out there. But then when I came back to Vegas after that trip, that was the first time since I moved out to Vegas, which was like 2018. That was the first time where we went to California and came back, and I felt like I was coming home to Vegas for the first time. So that was kind of interesting, and I was actually happy to be home. I think Vegas has grown on me.
Yeah, I hear that.
How about you? You've lived way more places than I have.
That's a loaded question, and I feel like I have more than one. I don't feel like that I'm capable of just having one because of the way that I was brought up moving around so much. There's a feeling that I get when I see certain places, and the only thing I can think that it is like feeling homesick. and that would be for Belfast, 100%.
Okay.
New York, and Vegas.
I miss New York, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Montana, too. I'm not going to shout out the town because it's fucking small. And not because I'm scared of being fined, because the locals will actually kill me for like shouting out this town. But I suppose this is like home. Like I had my kid here, I met my future husband here. You know, this is where I am. But
you laid some good roots down there.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
But New York, Vegas, and Belfast those are my home, you know.
Yeah. We should take a trip to New York sometime. I miss it. I haven't been since I graduated from college, so.
I love that we both have a Van Cortlandt Park story too.
Well, my school was right across the street from Van Cortlandt Park, so I got a lot of Van Cortlandt Park stories. Let me tell you,
some good, some bad. Yeah, that's the only one. That's the only one I have.
Your story is wild. I'm glad you didn't die.
Oh my
really
God.
glad.
Well, you know what? Like I'll tell that story one day, but I will say that it definitely shook all of my girlfriends and kind of was a reality check for everyone to fucking watch yourself when you go out, especially if you're a young woman. Yeah. Especially if you're a young woman. Okay, next question. What's a random skill that you have that you are literally amazing at? Please don't say bomb ass pussy.
I wasn't going to. And because that's not random. No. A lot of hard work put into that. A random skill I have. Oh. A random skill. I don't know that I have any random skills. To toot my own horn, I think I'm pretty good at everything I tried.
Yeah, fair. No, like that's not even, like this is a safe space for us to suck our own dicks. I feel like I'm good at everything that I try except for hair. I can't do hair. I'm not good at it.
Oh, I can do my hair. I can do my hair. I guess I can do other people's hair. I don't know. Like, I can't, like, nothing is coming to mind because everything I can think of is like a useful skill. Like,
sure.
I can cook and I can sew and I don't know. I wish I knew more about cars. I don't know. I don't even know how to put air in my tires.
Okay.
My husband has done that for me, like, ever since I got a car. So I would be fucked if I had to do that myself because I don't even know how to do that. So.
Well, there's YouTube now. You know what I mean? Like, men are becoming obsolete because we can just look it up.
That's right.
Oh my God.
There's always a tutorial.
I came across this TikTok today of this girl defending herself. She had made a joke. And I didn't see this one, so I really didn't have any context, but something about her just like, you know what I mean? When you come across the TikTok and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I can't invest any time in this because I'm just not interested enough. With her, she kind of grabbed me. And basically her joke was that all men over 18 should be drafted. So it's just a country full, like specifically United States, it's just a country full of women. And I guess a bunch of men were in her DMs saying, well, if all the men are off to war and drafted, who's going to protect you? And she looked dead in the camera like this. And she was like, what is there to protect me from if all the fucking men are gone? And I was like, I almost dropped my phone. I was shook.
That's right. That's true.
It's incredible.
What is there to protect me from?
Incredible.
That makes so much sense. I love that.
Final question for you. What is a key moment in your life that you believe if it never happened, literally everything would be different for you?
Okay, last time I said watching that MCR music video.
Oh, did I already ask you this question? I'm an idiot.
I have to pick another one.
I guess you do. Fuck me.
It's okay. I have a question for you after this, but if I have to pick another one, let's see. I guess it's kind of sad. Do you care?
I love sad.
I love being sad. I had an uncle who was born about a month and a half after I was, so we were like twins. Like, we grew up together, we did everything together. He had kidney issues growing up, and he was finally going to get a kidney transplant when we were 11, and transplant went fine. His older brother donated a kidney, everything was fine, everybody was fine, and then the nurse, I guess, OD'd him on his morphine and he died. So,
oh my God.
I was at the hospital the day that happened.
Traumatizing.
Yeah. It was. I went there expecting to see my uncle wake up from his surgery, and then he just never woke up, and it's pretty sad. And I remember that day so clearly in my memory, and like he was the 10th of 11 children, so the really big family. It's my mom's brother, and I remember being in this like large conference room with the whole family, and like their pastor was there, and the doctors came in to, you know, tell us what happened. And I remember the pastor having us all join hands in prayer. And I remember in that moment, like thinking to myself, at the age of 11, just thinking to myself, like, the doctors are standing right there. The information that they have in those manila folders isn't gonna change just because we are praying right now. And yeah, lo and behold, that was the day that I lost faith in any sort of God. So I don't know, man. 11-year-olds don't die for a reason. So
That's it's a very conscious kind of conclusion for an 11-year-old. I feel like that's a really like big thing to kind of think at that age. You know what I mean? Like to kind of be like, well, it's right there. This isn't changing anything. And I totally agree with you, even though we've talked a little bit before about how, like, you know, I find a belief system that works for me. I wouldn't call it Christianity.
Which is great.
Oh, I know you're not like that at all, but I agree with you. That envelope wasn't going to change. It wasn't going to change before it was printed. That prayer wasn't going to do anything for that situation. I will say, however, kind of on the side of my particular belief system, that God did not kill your uncle. But that's like a whole, you know what I mean? Because people always kind of come back.
I mean, I didn't feel that way then either. But it's like in the way that I felt back then, it's like I guess more the point is just like the horrible, terrible things that happen in this world. No actual omniscient, omnipotent God would allow those things to happen. So I don't know, man. Kids don't get hurt and essayed and R-worded and murdered. You know what I mean? So for a reason. So I don't think everything happens for a reason. I think this world is just full of chaos. That's all it is. And that concept actually brings me some comfort of just feeling like this is all chaos, which means that even those really beautiful moments that I find myself experiencing, that's like such a luck of the draw because everything is chaos. Like nothing really matters. So yeah, that definitely changed me. That was when my emo phase started. I saw that MCR video that summer after that happened. So it really just took off from there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big moment, you know what I mean? And you're at the age, like, you're old enough to remember it, and you're young enough to kind of be angry about it for a long, you know what I mean? Angry, confused, like a bunch of emotions. Plus 11 is like, would you call that prepubescent? Like, you're about to come into like a huge change in your hormones, physically, mentally, like everything's just happening. So that is a big life moment.
You know, I keep his pictures on my ofrenda that I have in my bedroom. So amongst other family members who've passed, photos on there. So it's just my way of having my little altar to remember all the people who mattered to me and who I miss and I wish that I could see again. So yeah.
We were thinking about doing something kind of like that for the wedding. Like having a little,
like a remembrance table or shrine or something like that.
Yeah, like I've seen some cute like signage. Like I that's what kind of inspired the idea, because I was like, well, there's people that we've lost
That you wish were there.
Yeah. But then we kind of like started diving down that hole, and it was like, well, what about grandpa such and such and this person such and such? And it's like, well, I never met that person, and that person passed before you were born. And then it's like, well, where does this end? So I don't know if we're going to do it or not. But I like the idea of having something like that for those ones that were really recent.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to remember those of us who are no longer here, you know?
Yeah, especially for celebrations and stuff like that.
I have a question for you. I was just curious to know. Changing themes a little bit here. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, God.
All right, let me be more specific. What's your biggest pet peeve that occurs in your home?
Okay, so by myself, my child, or my fiance, basically.
Right. Or even in past relationships, something that happens in the home. 'Cause I already have one locked and loaded, ready to go to answer. So
yeah, I mean, I would say I have a few, but they're all pretty like surface level. You know what I mean? Like dumb shit around the house. So something that's like kind of more important. I really, really don't like to feel belittled or interrupted, and I feel like those are hand in hand. So I feel like if I'm talking to someone and they cut me off to bring up something else, or at the end of what I've said have nothing to contribute and literally ask me what's for dinner or something like that, that will get me like upset, and when I'm upset I'm mad. So those two emotions are pretty much like right next to each other. I also do not like to be pressured when I'm upset. So because I've been working on my anger issues for the past 5 years, part of my kind of process is to walk away and take a minute
me too.
To figure out if I'm overreacting, to figure out if I'm being irrational, and to
just
figure out
collect myself.
Yeah. How I'm going to come at this, how I'm going to communicate this better instead of just yelling, because that's my knee jerk, is to just yell, scream, and I have grown from that. I don't do that anymore. So if you interrupt my time of processing, you're going to get fucking yelled at. So don't do it.
Nope, that happens a lot here too. Let me tell you, I have a temper, as you know, and when that raging bitch comes out, I need some fucking space. I need some space, like outer space, bitch. Like leave me alone until I come to you, because if you come for me, it's going to be bad. But one of my biggest pet peeves is trash in the fucking sink with the dirty dishes.
You know who used to do that? I'm not going to say any names, but you know who used to fucking do that.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I mean, that tracks. It's like, the fucking, I live in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. The fucking trash can is like 2 feet away from the sink. Why am I throwing away tea bags and fucking wrappers and used fucking paper towels, soaking wet paper towels now?
No, the tea bag thing is so weird. I feel like it's such a common thing for people to put the tea bag on the sink to let it dry. Bitch, you can throw it away. Like, if your bin bags are that sensitive to a wet tea bag, then you need to reconsider everything. There's a few things that it's worth paying a higher price for.
Your whole life.
Fucking bin bags and deodorant are up there on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figure it the fuck out.
Outside of the home, I would say that a really big pet peeve that I can't stand, and I'm only saying this because I've heard it a couple times and it irritates the shit out of me, when fathers say that they have to babysit when they're talking about their own baby.
Strange. What a strange thing to say. You're not getting paid.
Not babysitting. You are parenting. I'm not a parent. I don't plan on being a parent, and that to me, it just irks me. You're not a babysitter. I'm a babysitter.
Yeah. That's a strange one. I don't see why that, like, fix your language with that, you know? I have one. I have one more.
It makes my skin crawl. Yeah, go ahead.
On the outside of the house, I really don't appreciate when people feel the need to make jokes about other people, squishing them down to make themselves feel better. And this is a really common thing I see in relationships, and it's usually specifically the woman that's being joked about and the guy thinks it's funny, right? But it's not to say that it isn't the other way around. Just me, this is very circumstantial, right? This is a fucking anecdote. I don't like when people have to squish other people down to feel better about themselves. I don't find you funny. I don't find you cute. And most likely I'm not going to like you just because of that fucking joke you made. So you're failing at everything. And you've also just upset your partner.
Yeah, that brings up a really good, God, the other day at work, I was like clocking out for the day. And there was this guy who works there, and he was... Have you ever seen those stupid scary movies?
Yeah, the spoof screams.
Yeah, those.
I don't appreciate them, but I've seen them.
Yeah, I don't either, especially now. And there's like in the second movie, the character that's got like the arm. Yeah, there's like a whole bit with like the arm. Yeah, this guy at work was like redoing this bit, and I'm literally like standing there.
We don't.
And I'm like,
that.
Dude, I'm like looking at him with like my mouth is like to the floor. Like I'm just like, oh my, are you really doing this right now? And then he started telling the story about how he was hanging out with some friends, and somebody was on a Tinder date, and the girl was there, and one of his friends told him like, oh yeah, do that bit. And he didn't realize that the girl had like an arm thing. Okay. So he started fucking laying into that bit. And then when he looked at her and realized that like she had an arm issue.
Oh, like, I'm gonna throw up.
Dude, I was gonna throw up when he was telling the story in front of her. And he's like laughing, telling the story, and I'm just like, I'm horrified, Tay. I'm standing there like, and then he's done telling his story and he's like laughing and stuff, and I like looked at him and I was just like, well, you know, I would say that that's probably why it's a general rule of thumb to not make fun of disabilities.
Yeah, like
you never fucking know who has a disability.
Disabilities aren't funny.
They're not funny, and disabilities are not always visible. So it's like for you to, and he just thought it was so funny, and I'm just like, all right, I'm leaving. Bye.
He probably has a little dick.
I have a little dick. You want to see it?
The Bad Brew OnlyFans coming soon.
I might not be kidding.
Oh, do it. I'll definitely help you promote. 100%.
Let's do it. Fuck it. We gotta make that change, you know?
I dabbled in cam work for a minute.
I did too. In college,
I loved it. I really did love it. And you know what? Like, I would say 98% of the guys that I met were all really nice, super respectful. And I know there's a lot of horror stories out there, but like my experience was nothing but nice, like just nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say the same for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like an important thing, like if you're listening and you're considering getting into like sex work or cam work or anything like that, like you just want to make sure your boundaries are set and are clear before you do anything, and once the lines have been crossed, then you are in control and you can then cut that person off. That's what's so amazing about like the OnlyFans era, like the online era.
It's safe sex work, honestly.
It's so much safer, and you are in control. Like a lot of these porn sites, a lot of these porn stars and stuff, they're being forced into things that they don't want to do. And they have like a producer and a director and a fucking agent and whereas OnlyFans, you're independent. It's
all these other people making, exactly, making
your
part
body.
Of your fucking money that you're earning. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Take the middleman out. Take men out.
That reminds me of the Amaranth incident that happened recently that I wanted to talk to you about. She is a streamer. And she's like a cam girl, like she's a Twitch streamer, and she's like hot tub streams, and
cute.
She's just really cute, really, really nice or whatever. Long story short, like, because I know that we're about to get into the main segment and this doesn't have anything to do with it, but I just wanted to give an honorable mention because I really like this girl. Anyways, she's been doing it for a long time. She's got like a huge following. She's one of the biggest Twitch streamers, cam girl type, you know, redhead, just beautiful girl. Mm-hmm. And then she's live streaming like last week or the week before, and turns out that she's on the phone with her, you know, she's got it muted. She's on the phone with her husband, and she decides to unmute it. Her having a husband is fucking news to the world. Nobody knew she had a husband. This was kept under wraps, like secret, right?
Okay.
And she unmutes the mic, and you hear on her phone her husband screaming at her. Like, it's triggering. Like, he's screaming at her. Basically, it all comes out that he's been controlling her, pushing her to do more 24-hour streams, do this, get more, you're not good enough, I'm going to kill your dogs. Like,
oh my God.
Intense. And it seems like she is now in a much better place. She's doing more, she's a big animal person, so she's doing a lot more animal streams, like going to see her horses. She's just in a better place, and I'm sure she's not going to end up listening to this, but Amaranth, if you are listening to this, first off, I fucking love you. Second off, you got this. Third off, just keep, like, doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, stay strong, my girl. I love you. That's all I have for Who the Fuck Are You?
All right. That was a great segment. Good job.
Yeah.
To both of us. Pat myself on the back.
It's a team effort. Do you want to break real quick before we get into topic anal?
Yes. Topic analysis.
I can't write that word without, like, literally just thinking of anal. Like, every time I'm like, anal.
Also, the word annals always is like just the annals. The annals of history. The annals of history.
Always. Okay. Well,
yeah, let's take a quick break.
I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette, kiss my baby. Not in that order, probably, but.
Sounds good.
Smoke my baby, kiss my cigarette. I thought of another pet peeve.
Oh, what's your other pet peeve?
Just within the house, when it's dark outside, the curtains better be fucking closed immediately.
Oh my God, yes. I don't want anybody being able to look inside.
Especially when I can't see out. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. Oh my God.
Oh my God, what?
Okay. So because there's snow on the ground, obviously, footprints are more obvious, so you can probably tell where this is going. We're out for a cigarette this morning, and we're chatting, and it's a nice, little crisp morning, and I'm standing out there with my fiance, and I just had some coffee, and I look down, and there's some fucking footprints that aren't mine, and they're not his, because I kind of worked it out. Where they were was not where he was, and the print on the bottom, the footprint itself.
Shut up. Stop.
No, I'm serious. And I recognized the shoe. I recognized the print because I have the same one. It's an Air Force print.
Oh my
So
God.
I also noticed, because I'm a fucking detective in real life, I noticed that my downstairs neighbor wears a pair of black Air Force. So I'm thinking, like, okay, well, this kid's nice, but anytime he needs something, it's not out of the question for him to text me kind of on a regular basis, like, hey, do you have this? Can I borrow the snow shovel? Or
right, okay.
Stuff like just
neighborly shit.
Neighborly shit. Yeah. And he's a really nice kid. They're probably like 19, 20, so they're young and they're a bit loud sometimes, but they're very respectful of the baby. They're never noisy past 10 p.m., which is all I can ask. That's all I can ask.
Yeah. For sure.
But the fucking footprints, I don't know what that is. So,
you think it was him?
I mean, I recognize the shoe print.
Okay.
And I recognize that he has those shoes. Now, it's entirely possible that it was a friend of his, maybe looking for his place, because his is like beneath ours, and the front door's in the back.
That's a possibility, and I think also maybe, like, okay, when I was that age and I was crashing at people's houses and I needed to go smoke a bowl late at night and didn't want anybody, I'd maybe walk down to where, like, the neighbor's, like, little patio was or something like that, just to kind of, get away for, like, a second, smoke my bowl, and then go back inside without kind of, letting the people I was staying with know that I was outside just getting high. So maybe I feel like I can understand that because I've done that. I've been there. I get that. So
I think so the way that our house is kind of laid out, you have to go out of your way to get to where it was, and it's very much in our space. And where the footprints end and where they're pointing looks like whoever this was looking into our kitchen window. So I'll send you like a Snapchat in the morning. I'll show you what I mean.
Oh my God, stop. I'm going to throw up.
I didn't get like a weird creepy feeling from it though. Like,
okay, so then maybe it is something like I said. Then maybe they just were
I don't feel shook by it. I don't feel like
okay.
weird by it. But I remember last night specifically hearing a noise, like, so like from where I'm sitting on our right, we also have like a back deck which connects to like our bedroom window, and I could have sworn that I heard something last night. So in our kitchen, there's also a back door that goes onto this deck, and there's a light switch like right by the fridge and also the door. One of them is for the kitchen light, one of them is for the back deck light. Patrick hit the back deck light instead of the kitchen light by mistake and happened to leave it on until it was dark out. So when I came into the kitchen later that night, I'm like, oh, the light's on. And I go to turn it off. I turn it off and I kind of make my way back into the kitchen, and I thought I could hear a noise. And I'm like, no big deal. It's Montana. It's fucking owls attacking people. Not a big deal.
The deer that you send me snaps of out there just trampling around. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, whatever, it's just that. And then I kind of walk towards our front door, and I thought I hear a noise out there. So I'm thinking, if it is like a bear, I'm going to spook it and flick the light on out there real quick and have a peek. So I flick the light on.
Yeah,
I flick the light on, and what? And there's nothing there, but I definitely heard a noise. And like, lo and behold, that's like kind of where the steps were this morning. So, I mean, I'm sure it's innocent. It's really not a big deal. I'm not scared at all. You know what I mean? And I might even bring this up with the neighbor. I might be like, hey, this is going to sound fucking weird, but I'm a detective. Did you happen to walk over here the other night? Or did a friend maybe do it? If so, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. I'm not, if you were smoking a cigarette, like you say, having a smoke, I don't care. But I kind of got to know. I'm like a little bit invested.
Do it. Figure it out. Find out. Fuck that.
Stay tuned.
All right. I think I have a little bit of an analysis for you.
Give me some
topic
anal.
analysis. Give you some anal, okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so I assumed that we were talking about Kinks, like the band, so I did all of my research on the band The Kinks.
You're joking.
I'm totally joking.
Oh my god. When I tell you that a little bit of pee just came out, like I
think that's just because you had a baby.
You know what? That's absolutely true, because if I cough too hard, I'm like checking. Like, thank God you can't see. I'm like checking. Ever since I had a baby, if I cough too hard or sneeze, even if I just peed, like a little bit of stuff comes out. I think it's like the same thing as squirt. So like a little bit of something comes out, and it's not all the time. Like I do my Kegels, bitch. Like we're good. But yeah,
I think that's a good segue into our topic discussion today of kinks, because I'm sure somebody would get off on that. All right. So Urban Dictionary defines kink as simply as a sexual taste or a sexual pleasure / fantasy. A kink is not the same as a fetish, however. Apparently, a kink is a preference and a fetish is a requirement. For example, if someone finds thigh-high socks to be arousing during sex, then they have a kink for thigh-high socks. But someone who absolutely needs thigh-high socks to be involved in the sexual act to even become aroused, then that's a fetish. So a lot of this analysis is mostly like the difference between a kink and a fetish.
Okay. I didn't know that, so that is good to know.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I did this research, and I thought it was pretty fascinating because you kind of hear those terms used interchangeably, but they're not the same. There is a lot of crossover, and they're not mutually exclusive, but they're not the same thing. So, in the article, Defining the Lines Between Kink and Fetish, Mike Rampton succinctly puts it as, kinks are employed to enhance an experience, whereas fetishes are integral to the experiences. He goes on to say, a kink can become a fetish if the other person can be removed from the equation. If you're turned on by the shoes alone, for instance, and don't need anyone to be wearing them, that's a fetish. So, so it's like, I don't know. I thought that was interesting how like
that is interesting.
People can be into shoes, and it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody wearing the shoes, if that makes sense. They're just getting off on the shoes, Yeah. According to the Healthline.com article, What's the Difference Between a Kink and a Fetish by Gabrielle Castle, it's definitely possible to have kinks and fetishes simultaneously. there's a great deal of crossover, and they're not mutually exclusive, as I just said. So exploring both involves being open to erotic adventure, being honest with yourself about what you really value, and finding a turn on, sometimes dealing with shame about being different, and being clear about the role these play in your life and sexuality with potential partners. So I thought that was pretty interesting sentiment, just the idea that in order to like explore your kinks or fetishes, you have to be open. So just like this open-mindedness around erotic adventure and being honest with yourself. I thought that was a really interesting concept. I feel like, you know, a lot of times in the zeitgeist or the rhetoric around kinks and fetishes or really anything sexual, it's like, oh, you're just a little fucking deviant or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's why we don't
just
kink shame though.
Right. It's like, oh, you're just a little freak or whatever. But it's like there's a lot of self-awareness and inner work that has to be done in order to even get to those points. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
So the most common kinks are probably dominance and submission, bondage, and sadomasochism, which we all know as BDSM. And that's from sex educator Kenneth Play. Yeah, and so I have here a list of some common kinks. You ready?
Oh, you have a list of this is funny because you have a list of common kinks. I have a list of probably unknown fetishes.
Oh shit!
That's where I went.
So I have all right. So I have a list of common kinks and I have a list of common fetishes. So I'm gonna do the kinks first. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
So virtual sex. We were just talking about cam work, so that's one of those.
Okay. Would like phone sex?
I think that definitely. Yeah, that's definitely in there.
I popped my phone sex cherry during the the first lockdown.
Oh my god, you were old when you did that.
I know.
Just kidding.
Excuse me. I was in my prime.
I was
evidently.
I was a minor. Doing that with other minors at the time.
Oh, okay,
so it wasn't like too out there, but yeah. Orgasm control, which we commonly know as edging.
Okay.
Age play, role play, and bodily fluids. Those are common kinks.
Golden shower. Yeah. Did you know, actually, while we're on the bodily fluids thing, or bodily whatever, to do like any type of like feces, I don't know what you call it, but any like feces play, like poop stuff. Poop
girls
stuff.
on cup shit?
Yeah, it's not allowed on like anything. Like you have to dig deep for that. If that's like I don't even know like if that's your.
Do you mean like online? You have to like dig deep.
It's hard to find. You can't just
how
look
the
it up.
fuck was I watching Two Girls One Cup when I was in high school?
I think that kind of crossed the line from like porn over into just a viral video. I think that was probably one of the first viral videos that like ever happened. You know what I mean?
That was traumatizing in a way that I had not been traumatized previously. So yeah,
you know what?
Really bad.
I haven't seen it.
You've never seen it?
No, I've never seen Two Girls.
Oh.
I know what it is, obviously. Like, I'm very aware of it.
The big thing about that was, like, the reaction videos of people watching it. So maybe we'll do a reaction video of you.
That might even have been the birth of reaction content. That's such a thing now.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's the first I remember of, like...
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Of course it is. I mean, that's, like, a huge indicator for what we are as people. Dirty, downright scoundrels. That was the first ever video to go viral.
Look, dude, I'm a kinky bitch, all right? Like, don't even get it twisted. But anything having to do with urine or feces, get it the fuck away from me. Like, that is not. Yeah, I'm a pretty open-minded person, but I can't with poop. Poop and pee? No, thank you.
I could get behind the pee thing. I could.
Really?
I wouldn't be because it's like a form of like dominance. You know what I mean? It's like disgusting, vile, degrading. I get the pee one, and I could get behind the pee one so long as I was the one being peed on. I don't think I could pee on a guy and be like.
See, I feel like I could pee on somebody, but I would never let somebody.
Oh my god,
pee
we're
on
the
me.
perfect match.
Oh, cool! I'll pee all over you. That'll be some like good Patreon content or something. You gotta put that paywall up, you know.
Yeah, so I'm not doing it for free. Come on. Not doing
All
anything
right,
for
so
free.
not anymore. What the fuck?
Never again.
Never again. I've done a lot less, or I've done a lot more for a lot less, and that's not happening anymore. Okay, so some common fetishes include feet, latex, nylon, high heels, balloons, uniforms, suits, leather, and piercings. All right. And then I kind of chose one kink, which is probably my kink. If you wanted me to share a little
Of
bit
course.
about that.
Are you kidding? Why are we doing this?
Okay, so like I didn't realize why are we doing this? I didn't realize that like this is gonna sound so bad. Okay. I love older men.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that that was a kink until I was doing this research. I just thought it was like
A preference.
yeah, age play. Yeah, I just thought that I just had a preference, but that is what a kink is. It's a preference. It's not a requirement. It's not like I can't get off with somebody my age, but it's like I just really prefer older men. Like my husband, for example, is a whole 10 long months older than me, but he's my age. But yeah, no. Traditionally, I always go for older men, and usually it's much older, like 15 years plus. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's they're just grateful, you know? They're just grateful for the experience. I think I really enjoy that. But so age play as a kink. According to our good old friend Wikipedia, age play is a form of role playing in which an individual acts or treats another as if they are a different age. Age play is a type of role playing between adults and involves consent from all parties. It's not necessarily sexual. Portraying any age can be the goal of age play, from babies to a child to the elderly. Usually this involves somebody pretending to be younger than they actually are, but more rarely can involve assuming an older role. Age play can be sexual, obviously. It may be mildly or very sexual. Within dominant submissive relationships, age play can enhance power dynamics and allow a partner to feel more comfortable with their dominance or their submission. So, I feel like I personally am so dominant in my life, and I've always had to be, because I've kind of raised myself, and I've always had to be in control and in charge of my life for a long time. And I think that because of that, when it comes to sexuality and my sexual preferences, the bedroom is the only place I actually like to submit. So usually I'm very dominant, but in the bedroom, it's kind of like, that's my little vacation from myself. Like, I don't want to have to be in charge or in control. Like, I want somebody to be in charge of me and in control of me in those circumstances. But bitch, let me tell you, that is the only place that
Absolutely. Well, I think it's different too,
tracks
because
for me.
it's an opportunity to be more vulnerable. And if you're in that position with someone, there's probably a certain level of trust. So while you're vulnerable and you're being submissive, and you're to a certain extent you're being dominated, there's still that safeguard of I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. So it's almost like having like. So, are you aware of the DDLG community?
No, what's that?
That's the, I'm not sure exactly, I don't remember exactly what the acronym is, so don't quote me on this, but I think it's like daddy, dom, little girl. So you have your littles and you have your doms, right? And this was actually something that I was really into. It gets to a certain point where I'm not, because I'm not, especially now that I'm a mom with a baby, like I'm not into the nappies, I'm not into like the passies as much, like stuff like that. But like that kind of role was something that was important to a lot of my clients back in the day. You know what I mean? So I would be the little and they would be daddy. Everybody knows the daddy kink. So it's pretty much like that, but it's like when you're in your little space is what you would call it, is when you're vulnerable, you're playing with your stuffies, you're being taken care of, and it doesn't like your notes say, it's not always or exclusively sexual. Sometimes, of course, for some people it is, but for a lot it's not. For like the daddy position, they want to nurture and care for something, remind.
Right.
I would get messages like, don't forget to drink water, how are you doing, are you okay, do you need anything? And it was never
I love that.
followed up with like, send me a picture of your tits. It was never like that.
Right.
So when you
right.
have like that dynamic, it's actually like it's a nice thing. You know what I mean? With all things, like, there are lines that shouldn't be crossed, but that's just my opinion. Again, I'm not kink shaming, but like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's like someone taking care of you. It's nice.
Yeah, and I like that. I think that that's definitely like, part of that. Like you said, the daddy thing. It's like, well, what does that even mean? It's like, oh, I call you daddy because you're an older man who's going to take care of this bomb pussy. You know what I mean? So, I have a list here of some of the more common like role play, age play kind of scenarios. I'm just gonna rattle them off. If there's any of them that you want me to stop, I have explanations for each of them.
Okay.
So if there's any of them that you want me to like explain, just let me know. Okay. Yep. So some common, and a lot of these are like I was saying before, like the power. It's like a power play, like a dom sub sort of thing.
Yes.
So you have doctor / nurse and patient.
Love it.
Escort
Love
and
it.
client.
Love the patient doctor aspect.
I'm sick, Dr. Daddy. Yeah.
Love that.
I get that for sure. There's escort client, executive secretary.
Okay, 50 Shades.
Right. Handyman, housewife, master slave, photographer, model. I feel like I could get behind that one if I was the model. Yeah.
That's fun. See, oh my god, I'm on the other end. I could be I would be the photographer in that.
Oh, see, you and I would make a great sex partner.
Plot twist: we just drop the podcast and exclusively do OnlyFans.
I mean, whatever. Put that behind the paywall.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a lot more money, and honestly, probably a lot less work.
Yeah, but you live way too far.
True.
Get back over here. We'll make things work. We'll work it out. Okay,
listen,
so then
we gotta move back to Vegas because I'm starting OnlyFans. Pack up the dog, pack up the daughter. Let's go.
All right, so then there's stripper client, teacher student. I've got a lot of experience with that one, unfortunately, and fortunately, I guess. Circus master and lion. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, the lion is given a demand and must do it for the sake of entertainment. Yeah,
oh man, why? Yeah, you know what? An entire other like community that we need to talk about is the furry community. I'm not going to get into it this episode, but I have fallen in that hole before, and I'm happy to go back.
My algorithm for my Google searches is gonna be so fucked.
Looking
up shit I would normally never fucking look up.
I got nervous today because I literally had to Google what's a lethal dose of Valium, and then I'm thinking, are the cops gonna show up? Are they thinking that I'm killing somebody?
No, you have a podcast now, so they're aware. Your agent that's watching you through your screens at all times, like he knows that we're doing this now, so it's fine.
Cool.
And then the last on this list is sex doll and doll owner. So those are just some.
I'm into that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was kind
kink
of cool
unlocked.
Too. Kink unlocked. level unlocked. That's fucking great. And then I have some other scenarios, which, like I mentioned, the age play. Animal role play, so I guess that's a little bit on the furry side of things. Authority figure and misbehaving adult. I feel like that's just my kink in life. Like
would that be figure. like a cop or something?
Yeah, and like a criminal. And that actually even brings up prison fetish, which is its own thing too.
Yeah, I kind of get that one.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, my fiance has a story about that one. I don't know if he would let me include it. I don't want to like presume and speak on his behalf, but he's in there.
Okay. Then there's also torturer and captive prisoner, uniform fetishism, and supernatural seductions. I thought that one was cool because it's like It says that one participant takes the role of a predatory vampire, incubus, succubus, or witch, and seduces, enthralls, or claims the other participant as their victim. I guess that's a fetish of mine. I didn't realize that, but I've always referred to myself as a witch. And, you know, when I get some gentleman callers, I like to feel as if I've bewitched them.
I love the complexity. I love the complexity. Yeah. It's not just a straightforward thing. It's deep.
Oh no, I'm supernatural and you're only interested because I've bewitched you. Yeah, I like that.
So, on the captive one, what did you call that?
Torturer and captive prisoner.
Okay. That one's interesting. I came across a horror film maybe like 2 months ago. Listeners, I don't know if you've picked up on this or not yet. I'm a fucking horror fanatic, whether it's books or movies. I don't care if they're like I'm really, really into them. I'm a big horror fan. So when I come across new horror, I have to see it immediately, especially when there's a lot of conversation around it. There's this movie called Finding Megan, I think it was called. Okay. And a bunch of people were talking about it like a few years back, and then it kind of died, and then a bunch of people were talking about it recently. And it's one of those kind of like it's one of those kind of like found footage ones. So of course there's always the rumor that comes out like, oh, is it real? Is it real?
Some Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, like didn't really happen, like all that kind of stuff.
I thought that movie was real when I was a kid. So.
Yeah, I thought The Fourth Kind was real, and I thought Paranormal Activities was real. And I wouldn't even say I was a child when those came out. Like, I was definitely a teenager, so I'm an idiot.
You're not an idiot!
So this film, Finding Megan, I'm pretty sure it's called, just had, like, such a shocking reaction. People saying that it was disgusting, shouldn't have watched it. Like, the director came out and said, like, you know, when you see this text come up on the screen, you have about 9 seconds to look away. It's really disturbing. So I'm like, oh, I have to watch it immediately. And I'm looking everything up that I can. I'm trying to figure out where I can watch this. I'm looking at pictures. I'll ruin a film by reading all the spoilers. Because I
don't believe in spoilers ruining. I don't believe that spoilers ruin the story. If it's a fucking good story, like I don't need. It doesn't matter that I know what's going to happen at the end. I'm here for the story. Yeah.
I think with this one specifically, it would have been nicer for me to not look up as much as I did, because I think what was so horrifying about it was the shock factor, and I removed the shock factor because I read about it and saw pictures of the scenes that were the most shocking. But, of course, I didn't tell my fiancé anything or show him anything, and I wanted to somehow capture that shock value back, so I made him watch it, and I just sat there looking at him like this, like waiting for him to fucking cry. But he was fine.
Waiting for him to cry.
But while I
love it when men cry.
Aww. While I was doing this research about this movie, there was a lot of conversation about it just being torture porn. And I'm thinking, like, well, that's interesting. I've never really heard of that before. And it took me watching the film to kind of understand what they meant and to kind of see it from that side. And there's a really gory, I wouldn't say gory, but just a really graphic and disturbing R-word scene in the movie. And the character is underage, which makes it even more disgusting and disturbing. And the length of the scene. Now, everybody's seen an R-word scene. You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of experienced that, and it's supposed to be uncomfortable, right? Because it's fucking...
Of course, it's assault. Yeah, it's not supposed to be
if you like it, there's something else that you gotta, like, yeah,
I gotta do some inner work there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's also, like, a kink, though. Like, the R-word scenario, I think that's also, like...
No, yeah, for sure. But, like, the underlying thing with all kinks and fetishes is that there's consent from all parties involved. So,
I could get behind a role play where, like, you're peeking in through my kitchen window. Really bad
leaving Air Force sneaker steps outside.
No. Oh my god.
Oh god, that went full circle in the way we didn't mean for it to.
But this film was like, there was a theory that it was just torture porn, and the way that the script was written for these two young girls interacting with each other when they talked about sex, that was what made me believe that this movie was more of an enjoyment for the director and the writer than it was something that I could really get behind as a horror fan.
Okay.
So like it was these two young girls talking about things that, in a way, and I've been a young girl, so I would know. This man has not been a young girl, so he would not know, and it was just very inaccurate. And as maybe if someone was into that kink or that fetish, that would be sexy to them. And then for the captive torture scenes, the way that they were shot were very pointless, not integral to the storyline, really not adding anything more. And I was like, okay, I think maybe there's something to this torture theory behind this movie. This is all alleged. This is anecdotal. It's my opinion. Speculation.
Yeah. But it sounds from like what you're saying that it felt like it was very masturbatory on the director and writer's end of it than it was for entertainment value.
Yeah, I mean, and he said too that his intention behind the film was to bring awareness to situations like this so that other girls don't get kidnapped and R-worded, I guess. I appreciate the sentiment,
so
but...
kind of victim blaming in that sense, though. Like,
yeah,
maybe instead of writing a cautionary film about how girls can protect themselves, we should be writing cautionary films on how men shouldn't be out there sexually assaulting people and R-wording them.
Why is that always the method for these situations? Let's talk to the women about these assaults and figure out how we can stop it happening to them.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's almost as if there's like a war on women or something. I don't know.
I don't
It just seems like that's kind of how it feels lately. Fuck.
Man.
Well, that's all I really had for an analysis, for my analysis of the topic. So, hit me with what you got.
Oof, you're not ready.
I'm always ready,
So,
bitch.
on December 9th, 2001, and I'm just kidding.
Now! Fuck,
I can't go
my
back
life.
to that place.
No, I
Okay.
don't want to. Fuck birds.
I have some stuff for you. I actually have a few
All right.
interesting ones.
All right, let's do this.
So, my intention initially with this topic was to do some super deep dives into these kinks and these fetishes and find message boards and interviews and all that stuff, which I kind of did. And I will want to revisit this topic in the future. I think this is just like another one where I can fall down multiple holes. I mean, literally and figuratively, apparently. But I have a fun little list. I love that I paused for you to laugh at my joke.
Well, I was in the middle of drinking my LaCroix and almost choked on it. That's kinky, I guess.
I wasn't looking at you. So I thought I would be polite and like I was like, just give her a chance. That was funny. Just give her a second. I wasn't sure what
It was funny. I was just in the middle of taking a sip of water.
I'm so embarrassed that I'm having a conversation about pausing for my own joke. Anyways,
funny.
My point was I do want to come back to this. But this hole that I fell down for our topic today was all because I stumbled across a TikTok account, of course, by the name of Lena Ray, I believe is her name. I will link. I'm also going to be showing a little bit of her video in the YouTube edit. So if you're here on YouTube, subscribe, obviously do all that. John Day, I have it for you as well, though. But she's basically exposing fetish content within TikTok. So she does these reaction videos to these and calls out fetish content type behavior and points out when things are intentional. For example, this.
Just push it right into the top of the cake like that. Okay, already I'm looking at that hand there. That's posed. That's painted. That's on purpose. Oh my goodness. Yeah. You have to listen to them a little bit too and watch that hand. See what that hand's doing? She's lifting it up. That's on purpose. And like pouring things that are runny. She's gonna ooze out all over the cake. It's giving splashing, which is a food fetish. Okay, you've got some sprinkles in there. Just the way she's holding that vase, it feels weird to you because it's a hand fetish. This is fetish content. she's gonna lift this up. That's all on purpose. That little motion and that's on purpose. It looks like she's groping this thing, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's fetish content.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very
It's funny because I had actually seen that TikTok that she's reacting to.
Yes.
And I was like, this is weird.
Yes. There's a reason that we feel uncomfortable with this content, right? They've always felt really weird to watch. I could never really explain why, like watching and I always thought it was just because like I was getting frustrated because I'm like, pull the fucking thing. Like, let me see.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting it to do that thing, and it didn't. Yeah.
And probably a lot of you listeners too have come across this type of content before, where you have someone who's like filling something with sprinkles and they're gonna release it and the sprinkles are gonna go all over the cake with the icing, and they're building it piece by piece by piece by piece, and like 5.5 minutes later you're like, I'm still fucking watching this and nothing has happened. Like, why? Like, it almost pulls you in and you're confused and disgusted and icky. Well, this is why, because apparently it's actually fetish content.
Interesting. Now I wonder if that one video that I saw forever ago that was like, now I'm wondering if that was fetish content to some extent, because it was like somebody cleaning, it was like, the video was like, the best way to clean your toilet. And it was literally just a fucking 5-minute video of somebody like squirting every single type of cleaner they had in the house into the toilet until the toilet was just like full of soap and suds and chemicals and just cleaning agents and cleaning products. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how the fuck is this the easiest way to clean your toilet?
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, no, and then they took one of those like soft like loofah things from the bath and just shoved it in there and was like scrubbing the toilet with it. I was just like, this is not how you clean a toilet. So now I'm thinking that had to have been some weird fucking fetish content. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. It's not weird.
I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. I absolutely love that.
Weird to me.
Okay, so I have more though. This continues. I'm sure you've also come across these weird cooking videos where
oh my god, I can't stand those. Because I actually cook. It's so hard to watch. The ones with like the raw pasta.
Yes, okay.
And they just throw it in the pan with the cheese, and it's always like American fucking singles.
It's fetish content.
It is?
That's why it's so annoying. Allegedly. Okay. So like food club videos, those I do not believe fall under this category. I'm going to show you an example here in just a second. But Patrick and I laugh at these stupid recipes all the time, especially with the raw fucking pasta going into the thing. That's not how you do it.
No.
So let me show you.
We're going to start with a block of Velveeta cheese. We're going to add some macaroni noodles. Add about halfway up the cheese. Now we're going to add some heavy whipping cream.
It's a theory. This is alleged. Cut that. Apparently, she's creating fetish content. And this is all happening right underneath our fucking noses, you dirty, dirty scoundrels. How dare you expose me to your fetish? Okay, but I really don't think that I'm that mad about it. Maybe like if I was like really trying to pull this apart and like find a problem with this, TikTok is, or at least it was, primarily a children's app, but I feel like now it's kind of evolved into just one of the bigger social media platforms, so everybody's on there doing their own thing. It's not like they're flopping dildos around, you know, and being super on the nose with it.
That would be preferable. I'm just kidding.
I would enjoy that a lot more than your fucking raw pasta.
Yeah, no shit, actually. You know what? I'm not joking. I take that back. That raw pasta just fucking does something to me, man. I'm not okay with it.
Like I say, it's not like there's anything that you can immediately notice as sexual or whatever, but it just does feel a bit strange to somehow have been accidentally and unknowingly watching this fetish content.
Yeah, that's the part, because it's like I didn't consent to watch fetish content. I'm consenting to watch silly TikToks, so
yeah,
it's a little deviant.
It is a little bit, especially when you think of like, you know, a kid would come across that and watch it and not be any the wiser that it was fetish, which, I mean, maybe like that in itself is just like fine and not a big deal. I'm definitely not getting on a soapbox. I'm not dying on a hill for this. But I just think that it's interesting that all of us are like sharing these videos of, look at this dumb weird recipe, look at this chick that never pulls the sprinkles. Lo and behold, possibly it's fetish content. I think that's really interesting. Also, while I was doing my research on this, I came across a video by a YouTuber called Smithy at Home, and I will tag his video on this below because he did a really good job. And again, it was kind of like just finding like this golden ticket when I was doing my research for this episode this past few days. Like I find that whole piece by that subredditor who broke down all of the oil violence since like 1900 or whatever. So this guy, Smithy at Home, also did a video on this literally about 8 days ago. So we're like, hello wavelength. And he kind of calls out 5-minute crafts for this fetish content.
Okay.
So that kind of prompted me to run to their channel and see if anything, kind of popped out. Yeah, now that I have these new eyes of like this fetish content, the posing of the hands, all that stuff. But I was actually immediately uncomfortable being on their channel because it's very clear to me that their YouTube channel is very much aimed at children. Like there's kids on all the thumbnails, bright colors, da-da-da. So I really just choose to believe that they're not making fetish content. Because then if they're including a bunch, there's a line there and they're fucking getting really close to it. And that's if they're doing this, you know what I'm saying? But kind of circling back to Smithy's video, he showed some pretty compelling clips of the 5-minute craft channel that would suggest this to all be true. So let me show you that clip. Yep, better Shar with the jeans on.
What the fuck?
Yeah. That's not the only one that he pointed out. They do a lot of women's underwear stuff.
Okay.
The engagement ring in the little slot in our underwears. Right? What? That doesn't feel normal to me. The jeans on the pretty girl, presuming that she's pretty. I'm just saying that because she had like a nice body. Like, what am I saying? I'm part of the problem, John Day. But you know what I mean? The jeans getting wet. I'm sorry, everybody. I apologize for that.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe the jeans in the shower is my kink, okay? Don't shame me for that.
Maybe it is.
It's not.
I don't know. Maybe these videos are designed to awaken something deep within some of us who haven't had the inner work done to get there to that point ourselves.
I mean, that would be amazing if they weren't featuring a fuck ton of kids on their channel. If you were like a platform that was like helping people discover their kinks, because I'm kind of in the belief that everybody has one, whether it's small or big or whatever, and I almost feel like the person that doesn't, I don't trust you. What are you hiding?
Yeah.
What are you hiding?
Yeah,
you know, because you have
the quiet
one.
ones you have to watch out for.
Exactly.
So I hear. I'm not quiet, so I don't know.
You're too late to hear them if they are saying anything. Okay, so I did just a little deep dive into one particular fetish.
I'm so excited to know which one you picked. Because I was boring and I just picked the one that applied to me. So.
I chose the bubblegum fetish. Which I think it actually, because you did mention it in one of your more popular lists, I think it might fall under a similar thing to the balloon.
Okay.
But here's what I have for you. I had never even heard about this one until I started my research for this episode.
I did research for this episode, and I didn't even come across this one. So.
Oh, I find people. We have a guest. I'm just kidding. There's all of a sudden.
Princess Bubblegum.
Surprisingly, in my opinion, when you Google anything with fetish, like you're probably going to get tied just to any porn website going to come up.
Right.
So I did a standard Google first. I Googled bubblegum fetish, and a lot of content came up that was pointing me in the direction of porn sites, right? But nothing that was like specifically for bubblegum. And what's interesting about the bubblegum fetish is that it is basically exactly what it says on the tin. It's an attraction to the bubble blowing of gum. Now, according to Urban Dictionary, shout out, which I'm not sure maybe is the best place for me to do my research, but I certainly enjoyed over there, and I know you do too. Apparently, it's not uncommon for people who have this fetish to also have a balloon fetish, as I said. So I fell down a hole. I had to adventure with this one just a little bit further, and I find a website called the Bubblegum Kessa, where there are surveys submitted by people in the bubblegum fetish community. From what I gather, the website is ran by someone who participates in the creating of content for the bubblegum fetish community. Now, I just have to say, I don't know who this person is, but I think she was way ahead of her time. Not because of the bubblegum fetish thing, but the fact that she was creating content for a fetish, made a website where she could talk to people, like with this survey thing, one-on-one, and see why they're into it. Because then, I mean, hello, customers.
Yeah. It's like field study, honestly. Like getting her own sample of what people are into, what they might be into, why they think that they're into bubblegum as a fetish.
Yes. So she had pretty much a captive audience there. So whoever you are, Bubblegum Kessa, shout out to you because you're a genius. And I hope wherever you are in your life, you're being appreciated for that. So I do have one here that I want to read to you. I kind of just picked one at random. I think the only reasoning behind my selection out of all of these surveys was that this person's from New York. So I was like, okay, you're the winner. And I'm going to be keeping any kind of personal information confidential, but I actually think that her website does that anyways. So again, shout out to BK. All right, so this is a person who has a bubblegum fetish. What is your age, sex, location, occupation? 21, male, New York City, student. When did you first realize that you had a bubblegum fetish / attraction? He says, oh man, I think I've always known something else was up with the stuff. What aspects of this fetish attract you to it? He says, bubbles that pop and get all over the place. The expansion, anticipation, and pop. What makes a perfect bubble to you? He says, moderate to big size and pop. So it's got to be about that pop, I'm thinking.
Yeah, sounds like it for this person.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite type of gum? He says, I'm not much of a gum chewer. Usually it's just bubblicious, though. Good choice. Good choice. I'm saying that. He didn't say the good choice thing. I said that.
Yeah, no.
I'm confirming that it's a good choice. What do you look for when buying clips? He says, length, content, originality, bubble size. Again, shout out to her for that question because you're literally getting content ideas as well.
Right.
I guess maybe like she's my fetish, like this person. She's so smart. Incredible.
You're just into intelligence, okay?
She says, which clip of mine is your favorite and why? He says, I've only bought one, sad face. Lowly college student needs to worry about other things, like money. What do you like that I do, and what do you think I could improve on? He says, I just like how it's candid and honest. Improve on? Meh. Throw in different outfits, I guess. Do your friends and family know about your fetish? He says, only girlfriends. They love the fact that they can turn me on in the bright of day in public. Torturous girls they be. That almost kind of brings on like a voyeurism kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like being out in public, like getting, you know.
Yeah.
And even then, that. Like, I feel like now, I don't know, like the gum one, I feel like I chew gum when I'm walking around in public. How many people are looking at me like, ooh, none. None.
No, but I get that, like that in public thing. It's like, it's that in and of itself is kinky in the sense of like I was saying, like my kink is that I like older men. And in the past when I would go on dates with men who were very clearly old enough to be my father, I thought that was really fun and exciting and interesting when we'd go like on a sushi date or like go to the mall or go wherever. And it's like, we're holding hands and we get those looks from people that are like, what the fuck is going on over there? It's like a little exciting. It's a little like tinge of like, ooh, look at me doing this taboo thing.
Yeah, well, it's the taboo aspect for sure.
Yeah, it's like you're almost getting away with it in public. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to. Yeah, I get that.
Hermione, Professor Snape.
I am here for that. We've discussed it. I'm here for that.
That can be our first one. Do you chew gum yourself? For our OnlyFans. Do you
Yeah, I was
chew
gonna
gum
say I'll pee on you dressed as Hermione Granger. It's cool. It's cool.
Do you chew gum yourself and get turned on by it? He says yep and yep. Hence why I don't do it much. Are you more into the innocent schoolgirl look or a more mature sexy vixen look when it comes to gum clips? He says depends. It's more attitude than outfit. Playful wins, but sultry is good too. Are you also attracted to balloons and other inflatables? He says no, he is not. Are you ashamed at all for having this fetish? He says yeah, kinda. Girls I date don't mind when I tell them, though. They're excited at the prospect of getting me ravenously turned on during a trip to the store or something, and then getting tackled once we get back to the bed. Win-win. Do you have other fetish? Yeah, I mean, I get that. You know, I don't
It's cool.
personally kind of get the gum thing, but I get, you know, like we were saying, like the doing it on purpose to turn you on, like, out of the house or whatever. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other fetishes? He says, yes. Girls getting pied in the face, and myself as well. No idea where that came from. I would not like it to ever happen to me in public, but I've thrown a couple in my own face when no one was looking. Shrug. And not other messes too. Same with bubblegum. It's just bubblegum, not balloons. Or what have you. Pies and bubbles, go figure.
Interesting.
Yeah, the pie. So what I think is interesting about that one is that he enjoys the aspect of the bubblegum play outside of the home in public, but the pie, like the humiliation for him is not on the table.
I was gonna say it's the humiliation aspect of that. Yeah. It's definitely not gonna do that in public.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I almost wonder if he is like a dominant person, you know, in the bedroom, because even when he was answering about like basically the question of schoolgirl or vixen, he's like, well, playful kind of wins for him, right? You know, as opposed to the sultry, because it's kind of hard to imagine imagine like a sultry vixen dominatrix, you know, girl with like latex chewing gum.
I mean, that's kind of hot,
The chewing gum?
But I do see what you're saying of like the chewing gum is a little bit more of like an infantilization of the person chewing the gum. So it doesn't really make sense to have a vixen dominatrix kind of archetype doing something that's infantilizing.
Yeah, it's kind of like it cancels it out or something. But I don't have a bubblegum fetish, so maybe I don't know. Also, while I was digging on this particular site, one of the commenters submitted another site that they boasted was, quote, where we all are. Yeah. So I ran to that link, but alas, it went nowhere. And most articles or information I can find that's not just porn websites are really old pieces about this bubblegum fetish thing. Like they date back to 2012 and like later or earlier or whatever. So where's all the bubblegum fetishists? And why have people stopped posting about this? There was like this whole website with this chick. There was like message boards. There was a website where we all are.
There's a community.
It's gone. Nobody's out here. Not that I can find.
Like the Roanoke. It's like the Roanoke of fetishes. The community was just wiped out.
And let me tell you, if something's on the internet, I'm going to find it. I'm a detective, and I can find it. So it kind of boggles my mind. Even the subreddits that I find are really inactive. So maybe it's just a community that really doesn't care for socializing among others of the same, like other fetish groups do. Like we were talking about, like furries. You know, they have like furry conventions. They love like-minded, hanging out with their own. Maybe bubblegum fetishists just stay home.
Maybe they're a solitary group.
Yeah. Or another thing to consider is maybe that they're an older generation that aren't like online as much as like the younger ones. But the way that this particular subject, this person, was like speaking, like the way that they kind of worded things made me think that he was a millennial. Very
Well,
much.
he said he was 21 at the top of it.
Oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Oh wow, I'm stupid. So
You're
he
not
probably
stupid.
he probably is like our age. And then me thinking that I discovered.
This is an older generation of people. The bitch said he was 21 and a student. At
Well,
the top of the interview.
If I had a thought to check, I should have checked when that site was last active. I'm guessing that he might be like our age. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm thinking that this is a few years ago because, like I say, there's just no activity from bubblegum fetishists online anymore. They've all disappeared off the face of the earth. Yeah. So there's that.
Maybe they all like blew away in a balloon or a giant bubblegum.
Maybe this is actually something to look into. I wonder if that just people are just over it. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that. But like clearly from my background and research on it, it's just like anything can be a fucking fetish.
Oh yeah, just like anything can be a phobia, you know.
True.
Like anything can be like anything. But I think I have a few more that maybe you haven't heard of. I have a fun little list that I'm going to rattle off too to wrap this up. So, my pronunciation is going to be trash. It's just going to be bad.
But it's cute because of your accent.
Agamatophilia. Now, you're really good with words, so you're probably going to be able to pull these apart and kind of do some of the Latin on a lot of these.
Yeah, just put me on the spot.
Yeah. So I'll say it again. Agamatophilia.
Okay.
What is that? A sexual attraction to inanimate objects.
Okay. I've definitely seen like specials on TV about like this guy who was like in love with his car.
Yes. I saw pictures of a guy like with a motorcycle. Like that was his thing. So I've heard of that one before too. Not super overwhelming. Next one is a basiophiliac.
All right.
Attracted to leg braces and other orthopedic appliances. This one's pretty good.
Okay.
This next one's pretty good.
Going.
Chelonophilia. I don't think I pronounced that correctly. Chelonophilia, possibly. It's a CH at the start, so it's either chelonophilia or chelonophilia.
Or it could be a K sound too.
Oh God, it could be a K sign too.
I don't know. I'm just stabbing in the dark here.
Whatever it is, it's an attraction to turtles.
That's mean to the turtles. The turtles aren't attracted to you.
The turtles want fucking nothing to do with humans. Like 7 out of the 7 days a week. They don't need us. Okay. But save the turtles if you can. Anytime I see one on the road, like I'll pick it up. Okay, I have another one.
Save the turtles, but not for anything weird.
No, nothing weird. You fucking animals.
They can't consent. Leave them alone.
Exiliism.
Okay.
Armpit sex.
Ooh, that's a thing. Well, of course it's a thing. Everything's a fucking thing. If it's a fold, you can get your dick in there, I guess. Like, Jesus. Oh, my goodness. Everything is a thing. Wow.
Yeah, armpit sex. Okay, next one is coprophilia.
All right.
You're gonna love this one. It's a poop fetish.
No, why would you say I was gonna love that? I hate that.
You're into it.
I'm not okay.
I'm unlocking.
Dude, that reminds me. I saw this wild headline. I had to have seen it like a year and a half ago on Twitter. Where it was like, basically, this man was charged with... Okay, so this man murdered his son because his son found... And the boy was only like 11 or 12 or some shit like that, the poor kid. He found a photo of his father dressed in a diaper eating feces out of another diaper. It was just a photograph the kid stumbled across, and when the father found out, he just went into a murderous rampage and killed the little boy.
Imagine being so embarrassed that you kill a child. Like
your own child.
Yeah.
The fuck?
What is wrong with you? I hope he got the rest of his life in prison because that's
me too.
Probably
that's
about
awful.
what he deserves. That's disgusting. Okay, formicophilia.
Okay.
You're gonna like this one. You're gonna hate this one.
Oh God.
This is when someone is into bugs crawling on them, usually on the genitals.
What the fuck?
This one kind of touches on some of that fetish content that we stumbled across. It's chirophilia.
Okay.
You'd think it would be called something else, but that's when you have a hand fetish.
Oh, okay.
This one's probably easy to guess. This is somnophilia.
Is that the one about intelligence?
No, it's a sleeping
No.
fetish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like some beauty and not Beauty and the Beast, some Sleeping Beauty shit.
Beauty. Ugh, don't even get me
Some-
started.
Some Snow White shit there for you.
Don't even get me on that. Okay, next one is catoptronphilia. This one's probably pretty common, and I'd say that we're probably both low-key into this one too.
What is it?
It's watching in mirrors. So like seeing your reflection while you're getting it on.
Oh, I think everybody has that.
I think to a certain
everybody.
extent. Especially
It's
like if you're with somebody that you're super into and it's been a while and you're more comfortable, you know what I mean? Yeah, I could get
do
it
know
on that
what you
one.
mean. Yeah, no, you're like pulling a Christian Bale in American Psycho back there, just like watching yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, I love that movie. Okay,
Yeah, the movie's awesome.
here's one that we did kind of touch on. It's urophilia. That's being peed on. It's also somewhat BDSM play, as there might be some humiliation in the mix there.
There might be some humiliation when someone pisses on you. Might be.
Might.
I think that's what it's all about. But okay.
Oh. I mean, I think maybe something else to consider with that one in particular, like the pee, is like it's just another juice that you're getting. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're super into it and like nasty is off the table, you know, or it's fully on the table, like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I think like maybe that's like the next step, because there's a lot of juices happening. You know what I mean? And that's kind of
a lot
like,
of juices are flowing.
Yeah.
Just another bodily fluid. That's one of the kinks, man.
I think I think I get that one. I don't think I'm like out here trying to be peed on. It just seems like a super inconvenience. And when like you're a mother, like let me tell you, I'm just not trying to clean up like another pee mess currently. But maybe when I'm in like my 60s and the kids are out of the house and it's just us, you know, maybe one day I might have like 4 glasses of wine and be like, baby, pee on me. It's fine.
No thanks. I feel like the only if I was with somebody who I loved so much and would do anything for them and they wanted that for me, I could possibly see myself being pissed on only in the shower, water running. I feel like that's the only time. Oh great. Sure, what's your question?
What about being spat on?
Oh, I love it. Spit in my mouth.
Yeah, right.
Look at me deep in the eyes, tell me I'm yours, and spit right down my throat. Yeah, I don't know. See, that's what I mean. It's like I can't even yuck the urine thing, because it's like
You're not that far behind.
I mean, I know. It's like cum play is fine. I'm totally into that. If I like you enough, I'll let you shoot that load off wherever you want. But like feces, urine, definitely not my thing.
Well, I don't want to categorize them two together because I'm definitely never going to be into someone pooping on me. I can be 80 and horny and it's not happening. Like, I don't care. It could be the end of the world. It could be the end of the world.
It's just
and
so
it's the last
unpleasant
thing. I'm just not into the poop. But the pee, I could get behind. I could get behind that one.
Like I said, only in the shower and only if the water's running and I'm butt ass naked anyway in the hot running water shower. Like I just can't. I can't imagine sitting on my bed and letting somebody piss on me. Then I just have to mess in my bed.
That's the thing. I don't really think that that's the space for it. Like I wouldn't want someone to pee on me because I'm like while I'm in bed, because then you're pissing on my bed and that's just a mess. But if we're like hooking up outside or like in the bath or like in the shower or like somewhere where there's tiled floor, maybe it's not a big deal.
Look, man, I know that I've had too much to drink when I wake up because I pissed myself at some point.
Been there.
while I was blacked out. So maybe for that reason, I just have this mental block of like,
Maybe.
Pee is just not.
I'll get you there.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna piss on you, bitch.
Okay, you're gonna like this one. You're gonna like this one for real. It's
Okay.
vorarephilia. Vorarephilia.
Okay.
My pronunciation's probably trash. That's an eating fetish. Eaten alive fetish. You can see my notes started to get a bit nervous here because I came across some really disturbing ones, and this is where it starts to get disturbing. So vorarephilia is being eaten alive fetish.
So like, if I was into the idea of like a tiger eating me alive.
No, I think it's probably more of like a Dahmer
Cannibalism.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little dicey.
Stygiophilia is the arousal to the thought of hellfire or damnation.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Okay. My notes here go a bit crazy because I just didn't really understand what I was coming across. There is like an entire world of this fetish for inflation. And I really think that this kind of section that I have highlighted on my notes, we're going to come back to this. So I'm just going to rattle these off. I'm not even going to like pause. I'm just going to say them. And then you guys listening know that the next time we do kink talk, this is what we're talking about, okay?
Oh god.
Okay. Pants inflation. That's one. Vor is another. Brainwash, brain removal, transformation, haircut, macro, micro, which essentially those are fetishes for large women. That's macro. Micro is a fetish for small men. Can include squishing, boob crush, butt crush, and apparently can be a sub fetish for vor sometimes. We'll get more into that one next episode. Being cooked alive is on this list. Apple blowing, sploshing, which circles back to the food thing. And this one, anime robot girls malfunctioning. That's fully
Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I'm not yucking anyone's yum.
No.
That was just a little funny.
Yeah. I mean, and then this last one, I was a little bit confused by, because when I was doing my research on these fetish sites, I was looking for the obscure, I guess. I don't know if that's like a terrible word or if it's offensive, or I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude, but ones that we haven't heard of, right? Something that I have never heard of before. So while I'm seeing all of these, I'm seeing a lot of conversation of MS paint being described as a fetish. I was under the impression that MS paint was a non-binary term or something that people identify as. So I really want to circle back to that, but I want to do more thorough research, and I obviously want to talk about that delicately, because if we're talking about non-binary, that's not a fetish. It's not a kink.
Right.
So why?
It's an identity. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was under the impression that MS Paint was a non-binary term. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's.
I just know MS Paint as being the program I used to like fuck around on the computer when I was a kid.
Oh my god.
That's what I know MS Paint.
Oh my god. I haven't thought about that in such a long time. I used to go dine on some MS Paint.
Dude, no shit. That was the tits. That and pinball.
Oh my god. Minecraft.
Love it.
Yeah, the good old days. I'm just kidding. These days are better. I'm definitely not one of those. The good old days.
No. Unfortunately, right now is the most progressive human history has ever been. Mm-hmm. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, isn't it? But
well, yeah, it's pretty scary.
At least it's the right direction, you know.
Yeah.
Like, we've come a long way in 50 years, right?
I'm really glad that I was born when I was born and not any sooner. I mean, if I could have a choice, I'd rather have been born way in the future. But yeah, no. I with my fucking personality type and the way that I am and the way that I conduct myself, I would have been lobotomized or carted off to a loony bin.
We would have
back
been.
in the day.
We would have been
burned at the stake.
hung. Well, if we were in the
been-
States,
yeah.
we would have been hung. But
Yeah.
definitely
For sure.
we would have been. But I mean, good, right? Because if I'm not being burned or hung back in those days, I'm doing something wrong, in my opinion. Why are they keeping me around? I'm either some type of racist or I'm just terrible. All in all, just nothing good.
It's a solid argument.
Yeah. So if we were, you know what I mean, we can get burned. Get burned, baby.
Burn, baby, burn.
That's all my notes on kink talk.
Oh, wow. Well, good job.
Good job, you.
That's it. Thank you.
That's all I have. You guys, we made it to the end of the podcast.
I know. It really has been an incredible ride.
Well, I'm shooting for Friday episodes. That's the goal, but you know.
Yeah, Fridays are good.
If you guys are watching / listening to us on YouTube, you can support us even more than just listening by subscribing to the Bad Brew channel.
Make sure to hit the notification bell too, so you know when we upload. But more importantly, I want to see you guys comment your thoughts because I love a good argument.
Are we arguing with the listeners?
I mean, maybe. It is me. I like to argue.
Right. Well, of course. Well, you guys can also stalk the socials. I'll link everything below, but we're the Bad Brew on basically everything except Instagram, where we're the Bad Brew Pod, because somebody already got to Bad Brew first.
Fuckers.
Yeah, well, until next time, I'll miss you.
I'll miss you too. Tune in next time, bad bitches.
Butterfly doors on the Tesla, I ain't spend shit on that. If I like how the bad look, I'ma eat it up, ain't this shit back up. We